Recording in progress.
Okay. I bring to order the special meeting of the Board of Directors of the Colorado City Metropolitan District, August 18, 2021, at 6 p.m. And Jim, I guess this is Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And moment of silent reflection, if you so choose. Thank you. Quorum check.
You have Terry on Zoom and Greg is on phone.
So we have a quorum and approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second? Do we get a Okay, moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion passes. Okay, to the agenda items. Terry, can you hear us? Terry, you're muted. There he is. Are you there, Terry? I don't know that we have Terry. Okay, let's move on. To review the IGA with Polk County for addition of a ballot initiative for Tabor on the November election.
What it is the reason I called the special meeting is because if we're going to put a ballot initiative on for November, the deadline is the 24th, and this would give the commissioners also the opportunity to vote on it tomorrow. I could send it in. I requested this after the last meeting. Finally, they sent it to me on Monday. So that's why, and it was Monday afternoon, so that's why I set the meeting yesterday for tonight, give it a 24-hour notice.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept this intergovernmental agreement?
So, can you, Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the intergovernmental agreement on again?
This
Can you read it?
discussion.
We haven't, yeah, let's do a motion and get to the discussion session, Greg.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
And I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. Now it's discussion. Yes, and now your question?
Yes, can we, I'd like him to do a summary on the intergovernmental agreement, please.
Okay, the intergovernmental agreement is that we can be put on the ballot, and the election for Pueblo County would handle all the paperwork and putting the ballot initiative in the November 2nd. That's what the ballot or the intergovernmental agreement is for. That we would be able to coordinate election on November 2nd.
This is the Tabor.
This is on Tabor, yes.
Our district.
Yes. This does not tie us in, because we do not have a ballot question yet. This is just that we have the ability to put it on the ballot, if we choose so. We still have until I think it's the 14th of September to have a resolution and everything put in.
So this just opens the door for us to be able to do it.
Yes.
Does it lock us into spending any money right now?
Not as far as I know, no.
Okay, I yield.
So this, Jim, this governmental agreement, this IGA, is the same as we did when we had the ballot for the ballot.
Yes.
So to say, that's just the process.
Even for our special elections,
Right.
we have an
So
IGA.
this part of it's kind of paid for. I think the question that Greg had about, obligating us to spend to dispersing the funds is appropriate.
Yes.
We need to, when would we start incurring costs?
It would be after we have a resolution and a ballot question that we send in to them. And that would be, I believe, I don't have, I had it written down. Like I said, our 30th meeting, we'd have to have a resolution and everything, and it would be due the 7th of September.
Okay, before that though, we don't incur costs.
No, because it would be like our special elections, we have this set up, and when nobody runs and we fill the positions with whoever is there, it don't cost us anything once we turn in and say, hey, no, we aren't holding an election.
Okay, Bob?
It does lock us into, financial,
If there
and
is-
it's not, predicated upon date other than signing this document. Anytime they start doing anything from this point forward, whether they look up, names or literally anything, cost is involved. It says so right in here. I'm looking for the spot. I read it earlier.
Likewise.
This agreement constitutes the entire agreement, contiguous representation, understanding all duties, services, labor, expensive costs needed to require connection with this election. It starts the moment this is signed. There are some costs. They may be minimal. I don't know what the costs are. But anytime they do anything going forward, it will be a cost to us.
So really, what we need to decide is that, are we going to go on the ballot for the table? If we are, we have to go through this process.
Why wouldn't we? I mean, I think that the people in the community need to voice whether they want us, I mean, do you have any figures about what, if we don't detabor, what we owe,
Hopefully I can get that Friday. I had auditors in here today finishing up the audit, and I know they were going back to figure out what we were gonna have to pay on if we don't detabor.
but that, I mean.
And we will have a meeting with Sam and Carolyn. The earliest I could get it was Friday morning, which I have Neil coming in with Yvonne and me and Sam and Carolyn to discuss any other questions and concerns to bring them back to the board at the next meeting for enterprise detabering. There were some other questions that we need to ask Sam.
So that's when we make all the nuts and bolts. But we need, I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't do it, but we'll have the final figures to make the decisions at the next board meeting. Is that when we have to take the action? Am I not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I want to speak. Harry, we don't owe money. What we have to do is give money back that we collected in excess.
Yeah, I know that.
So we don't owe money.
But we can't spend it.
It's not ours to spend. See, that's the thing. You're asking people to give you money by doing this. They've already given you the money. and you haven't, in my opinion, we haven't applied it appropriately, or we wouldn't be in this, situation. With that, I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. I mean, when you look at the golf course, and you look at the Parks and Rec and the campground, about how much they really bust their tails. I mean, think where we were a couple years ago in those situations, and through their management and what we've been doing. I think we're being penalized if we do not, if we're not allowed to use that money instead of giving it back to the county. If we can use it to help write grants or do things, which will be part of the proposal down the road. But I think we just need to approve tonight to move on, so at least don't close the door.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, we don't use the money because they're not in enterprise. The board has chosen year after year to deny putting them in enterprise. So that's where you change it, is put them in enterprise where you can use the money. You're saying we could use the money. Yes, we could use the money if it was appropriately allocated and gained under the rules.
But doesn't D-Tabor do the same thing,
No.
let us use the money?
No.
Because we don't know if we'll qualify for enterprise for either one of those systems. Because you have to qualify for it.
It was already qualified under the golf course. It does qualify, always has.
There, it isn't that the enterprise is gonna be your, miracle does all,
No.
because there is still stipulations within that enterprise that restricts you in certain areas, whereas detaboring it doesn't restrict you in some areas.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act, and that's where I want to have the lawyer and the accountant give us the true of what it is, because like I said, when I talked to the lawyer, when I asked an accountant question, she didn't exactly give me the answer, whereas when I talked to the accountant, he'd give me the answer, and the lawyer's was different. So I want to get everybody on the same page to have that discussion and say, okay, these are the positives of enterprise, these are the negatives. These are the positives of going D-Tabor, this is the negative of going D-Tabor.
And that'll be Friday.
So it kind of comes down to, this is a Tabor issue, not an enterprise issue.
Yeah.
They do combine, they affect each other. Now, personally, I believe that I would not at all be in favor of D-Tabor at the state level, but I do believe that at the local level, at the municipal level, Tabor is quite restricted. There's a purpose for D-Tabor, and of course, the original purpose was to control the state. And I'm in favor of that. I side with Bob to some extent on, we have to manage money properly, and we have been doing a better job of that, need to continue to do a better job and keep tweaking that. But I am in favor of D-Tabor at the local level.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I
Yep.
may.
Yes, sir.
Hold on,
Hold on a second, Greg.
Can you
Terry?
hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
I've been watching the whole thing. I had trouble with my microphone on one computer, so I switched to another, but I just wanted to let you know I am here.
Okay, did you have a comment about this IGA?
I kind of echo what you said. I've always felt that Tabor was a overall positive thing, but I think in this particular case, we have actually we have received additional funds through improved operations, but in addition, I think that the facilities that made the additional funds had a lot to do with COVID-19, and I feel like our staffs have worked hard to make what we do better. And, it's an anomaly. In most years, we would not be having this discussion. And I favor detabering, because it's probably less to do with us than just the times.
Okay, thank you. Greg, what did you have?
Well, so, I mean, really, basically along the same lines, I'm not entirely in favor of detabering yet, because I want to see that our city manager is going to follow through with looking into enterprises like we asked him to. I think if that doesn't get followed through, and we don't have the auditor there to explain to us the advantages and disadvantages of putting those into enterprise, then quite frankly, at that point, I will not be in favor of turning any more power over, because they'll have demonstrated to me that they're not willing to solve this problem. So I guess what I'm getting at is I'm willing tonight to vote to allow this to continue until September 7th. But I will not be voting for it on September 7th. If our city manager doesn't demonstrate to me that he's willing to get people in there and go over this enterprise agreement. We've been discussing this now for several months, and we've always had excuses as to why the auditor can't come in here and talk to us and get this straight. I want the end of excuses, and I want the auditor in here to talk to us at the next meeting, which is next Tuesday.
No, it's the following Tuesday.
Or the following Tuesday, sorry. I yield.
Anything else? If not, let's take a vote. Ms. Kraus, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hochstetler?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
No.
Chair votes yes. The motion passes. And that is it for our agenda items. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
We're adjourned.